Smooth, mate. This is it. It's just high quality. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ashley Haden's Political Breakdown, a show that people care so little about that guests forget that they're on once I've booked them, which is why we only have one guest this week. My guest this week is...
Boyce Bailey.
Fantastic. Right. I want to start with a new report from the Joseph Rowntree Foundation.
All right.
A bit of fun, bit of enjoyable way to start.
It's getting bored.
They've said 4 million children are living in poverty in the UK, and that was in 2017 to 18. That is up by 400,000 in the past 5 years. That is just despite the rising levels of employment, because
For the kids.
Yes.
Employ the kids. If they haven't got enough money, let's give them jobs.
Oh, I mean, it's interesting because you look at in-work poverty, and in-work poverty, out of the 14 million people in poverty, 56% of them are from in-work families. So, I mean, do we need to change the conversation that we are currently have had for years about, how to get out of poverty? Just get a job.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
Well, this is the thing. Everyone goes on about, all you need is a job. They just don't work hard enough. If you're in poverty, then you just don't work hard enough. You need to stiff up a lip and to do more hours. But these are all facts suggesting that maybe just being in work isn't enough.
Are you saying that people actually need to be paid a living wage?
Potentially.
Is that what we're doing here?
Now, interestingly, with the living wage, because it's going up to, like, what, is it £10 in April? Something like that?
Ooh.
But that jump is going to go up by 6.6%, the minimum wage.
Yeah.
But people are saying, well, who's going to actually pay this at the end? Do you see that this big jump, it's going to be the biggest jump in a few years, is that going to be a solution, or are we going to see more people actually having less jobs because companies won't be able to afford it?
Fair point. Usually with the minimum wage thing, you're giving it to people, I don't know, Pret, whatever. You're the poor bastards that have to work in crap jobs for that. I used to do those sort of jobs. It's not. You turn up, you do your work, but then you've still got to try and learn and better yourself to try and get a better job that pays more. So it's how many hours are you going to have to learn? Where's the amount of time you have to put in to be able to afford a place in London, which I don't think you can actually do very well now.
Well, it's interesting you bringing up London, because the regions with the highest percentage of poverty are, if we have a look here, I've written it down, regions of poverty are London, the North, the Midlands and Wales. With the lowest poverty is the South, excluding London, Scotland and Northern Ireland. So the whole argument of, like, London, people in London, they don't have a clue, they don't know how to live. London's one of the poorest places in the fucking country.
Yeah, I've seen the rents.
Well, this is it. It's because the poverty is a mixture between the reason people are in poverty is a mixture between either not having enough hours or the pay not being good enough and house costs.
Yeah.
So, do you think there's a way to deal with the current cost of housing? Or do you think that we're beyond? The bubble is not going to fucking burst.
What was it? They need to build 1 million houses every year for like 10 years just to meet with the demand, and they're not doing that now. So it's a supply and demand thing.
Yes.
So you can build all the houses you want, but you're going to need so many more for people. Basically, you have to move London. You can't just have a social place like a city anymore if you can't get the people in and out and to and from work.
Well, even with building 1 million houses, with the houses, they have to be affordable.
Yeah, and why would you build the houses if you're not going to make a stupid amount of profit on it?
Oh, this is it.
So it's like council housing again.
Would you look at nationalising part of housing? Because I know that, like, if you build, we're looking at what like 14 years ago, I used to work as a labourer. As you can tell from my height and stature, I was a fantastic labourer. But we're working on... well, I mean, when you look at me, you think...
You did the best low walls.
Just constantly digging downwards.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time doing the skirting.
On a ladder.
Spent a lot of time going around places trying to get hold of tartan paint.
Oh. I had that when someone sent me off to look for a glass hammer, and I buggered off for 2 hours, and they loved it. I was sitting upstairs eating a sandwich, drinking tea. I couldn't find one.
I did one of the worst I've ever done. One of the biggest fuck ups, and I was like 17 at the time. And you know, when you fuck up at 17, you like the whole world fucking ends. Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I don't think that learning to drive at that age is necessarily a good thing. Because you stall, and then 17-year-old going, I've stopped the country. Just behind me now, it goes up until Edinburgh.
Yeah, there's at least 3 people behind, all angry.
I went to get something out of the person I was labouring for, out of his van. Managed to lock his keys into his van. And so I had to go to him going,
I've locked it.
Turns out I've ruined your life. My apologies.
Oh God, what have you done that for? I'll buy you a new van.
With that, we're working on a block of flats, like 13 flats in Leigh-on-Sea, on the river. It was lovely, but...
That's not going to solve housing.
No, and it's 14 years ago. It didn't.
Oh,
we know it didn't. We've got proof that it didn't.
You and your science.
But they were meant to be luxury flats, but if you build a certain amount of flats, I think it's like 12, it was then at least one of them has to be an affordable within the social housing remit. But if you look at the social housing remit, what they say social housing is like 80% of the housing value or something like that, which is still more expensive than anyone can fucking afford.
But if someone can rent it, I don't know. I just remember buying a place back in 2007. It was supposed to be the most expensive bad bubble time ever. And that bubble has continued for 10 years and over. It's just going to keep on going up and up. No matter what happens in England, in this country, house prices will just keep on going up 11% every decade, no matter what happens. They're all Chinese-owned gold bars around here with that £1 million flat that's just up the road. I mean, it's their money. They can do what they want with it, but...
In the north...
Rent it out.
I think the north had the highest, and it went up, house prices went up 2.2%, which means if you're going to buy, you're still fucked.
Yeah, if you haven't got the no percent at the beginning.
Oh, exactly. And this is it. I mean, it becomes to a point, it was when you're looking for mortgages and everything, we used to have like 110% mortgages, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we had the massive fucking crash in 08.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh, why don't you can't afford this, but how about not being able to afford even more of it?
That was the American thing, though, because when they hand the keys back, they don't own the money anymore. In England, when you hand the keys back, saying, "Oh, you still owe the money," you can't really have that in America. "Oh, my house isn't worth the same. I don't want it anymore. Bye." Walk away from that debt. It's retarded.
Well, that's it, and it's being able to turn it, because you do 110% mortgage. You know, going, well, I've got a house and a nice holiday, and I'll never afford food again.
Just living in your mansion eating spam.
Yeah, but with social housing, are we ever going to get to a point where people are going to be able to afford their houses like they used to be able to, or are we just going to be renting? Is that going to be the future?
All of Europe kind of rents. It's only England that went crazy for owning their own stuff back in the 80s, I think it was, 70s, 80s. That's when the house prices really sparked. I mean, it used to be you could be a policeman earning, I don't know how much they were earning, but say it's £30,000 then, and you'd be the sole dude bringing in the money, wife, child, that old kind of life.
Yeah.
But you could afford a house on that. You can't do that anymore now. I look at the young people now in your 20s going, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, this is interesting. Like yourself, you're married with a child.
Yay!
Do you work? Do you and your...
I work. We both work full-time.
You both work full-time because you have to now.
Yeah,
you simply have to. You can't afford. The idea of, as you say, the idea of the breadwinner is...
It's gone.
It's non-existent.
If anything, you need to do more like a Mormon thing, have 2 or 3 partners, simply because you can get all the money together, so a pack of people raising one child can afford it.
So, what is it? It's polygamy?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be a man and 2 women, or 2 women, or people who don't go with any gender at all. It just has to be a group of people.
That's gonna be the new sex thing, not a fucking sexuality or everything. It's gonna be, you know what? Or it really turns me on if you can afford to actually rent,
contribute.
If you can contribute, I will fuck you.
Yeah.
You can have like five people in a house.
A setting on Tinder. Is he handsome? I didn't care.
Don't care.
He had the money. We can afford food this week.
How much personal debt are you in? Because that's really the only thing.
Which sounds like all the conversations I read on Reddit on American dating from the comedy scene. It's just, what's your credit score? I don't want to live like that. It's terrifying.
It is a worry, and mainly owing to the fact that I don't need another thing for me to be unlovable. every time something happens, that's not for me either. Delightful.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to be richer anymore because you might use your power and influence to try and get sex, which I never had a backup plan for not doing that.
Dara O'Brien did a joke years ago about when all the Jimmy Savile stuff was going on. He said, well, one of the things that was mentioned at the start of one of his DVDs, he said, I'm not going to be talking about it, but I will say one thing. The judge said, with all of the BBC stuff and all of the things that you used your power and fame for sex, and all comedians went, is that a bad thing? Because we've got nothing else.
No,
like that's all we've got. Like, using fame for sex.
That's why you want to be famous.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like that bit of it isn't bad as long as there's consent.
Yes, that's the main word.
And
I like that word.
And they're old enough. That's very big. That's very important.
Once again, can't disagree. So, old enough, consent.
And if they
willing,
if they like you, because
not drunk.
Yes.
What are we going to go?
Oh, I mean, that's an interesting one. On not drunk, because I spend a lot of my time drunk.
Yeah.
And
do you consent to sex?
Well, I mean,
whilst drunk,
if it was offered, it's a very difficult question for me to ask because I'm quite lonely. I mean, the chances of it happening are slim to none most of the time.
Oh, it's terrible. Well, I'm married, so the chances of happening are none to none. So you've got one more than me. 25 years down my road, it's me and a tired hand.
I mean, if you're both drunk, where's the line?
No, I'm too drunk to see it. This is also a terrifying, scary conversation. No matter what side you're going to pick, there's 50 trillion people either side of it that aren't going to agree.
Well, this is the thing. It's such a difficult conversation, and because most of these conversations occur on Twitter, where
you can't have a conversation.
You can't. I mean, I've always said if you're chucking your opinion down in 120 characters or 240 characters, you don't know enough about the subject, mate. You simply don't. If that's what you're able to fucking compute, then you're an idiot.
I'll delete my Twitter account then. It's new. That's what I'm scared about the kids growing up now dating. What am I going to tell my son? How do I attract a girl? I just don't. It's terrifying for me. I don't know what you're going to do.
Well, this is it.
Can you afford a house? That's the main thing you've got to worry about.
I think that we use Twitter as like, well, this is the rules of life, and it's not. It's simply
fair point.
Not. You can go and you can talk to someone of the opposite sex, and you can have fun with someone of the opposite sex, and you can both get drunk and you both have fucking sex, and you can you both wake up think it's a mistake, but it was a mistake made to each other.
That is when I grew up.
Yeah, but then It's knowing the difference. If you're both drunk consenting, then you're both drunk consenting. If you're off your tits and fucking manage to get to an Uber only because someone dragged you into it, don't have sex. And the chances are you're not going to be able to get it up anyway.
Don't know. Never.
No one. You should never have to thumb it in.
What do you mean never? Tuesday for you. Nah.
I think we've covered poverty quite well there.
Yeah, we have there. If you can afford to get another person drunk to have sex, then you're probably doing all right.
That is not where I thought we got to at the end of that, I'll be honest with you.
Well, that's the whole problem. You say stuff and someone else interprets it completely differently with the wrong sentiment, and that's what's wrong with the world. People have their own opinions that aren't yours, even though everything you've said doesn't matter at all.
I mean, that is going to be a fucking Edinburgh quote. That is, everything you've said means nothing at all. That's my whole fucking comedy career. That is fucking hell.
I'm going to continue thinking Trump's great no matter what he does.
Now, from poverty over to terrorism. The Streatham attacker.
Him, yep.
What we've been seeing this week is a lot of talk on early releases.
Yes.
And what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed, and Priti Patel not truly understanding what counter-terrorism is.
I just saw that and I didn't know what a counter-terrorism is, and it hurt.
Counter-terrorism is what you do to counter terrorism.
Yeah, we're good.
I mean, I know that the English language can at times be incredibly difficult, but for the person who runs our fucking Home Office, she should get a bit more up to date. Now, with regards to terror laws, because we're going to bring in a new law. We're not going to be allowed this. We're not allowing this. We're not allowing this. We bring out new terror laws feels like every 6 months.
Every time there's a terrorist attack, they write a new law to try and help themselves, and not realising there's already really good laws.
Well, yeah, because with regards to radicalisation, how do you think we could, even by 1%, look to improve de-radicalisation in things like prisons?
I don't even understand how you would do that. You take someone who's got a belief, you then take away all their freedoms and you stick them in a little cell, and that's supposed to make them like you. I don't know how that works, how you wouldn't be more ingrained in your beliefs and then come out more determined to harm those that incarcerated you. I mean, obviously you have some sort of, hopefully there's doctors and psychological masters that can wean these people off, but they're already there.
Well, we have there's therapy. If it's Islamic fundamentalism, which isn't the only form of terror, no matter what the Daily Mail will have you believe. But you've got imams going in, talking. I think one of the things that we do not look at is actually attempting to discuss what their ideology is, what it's based on, and where the holes are. Because the whole idea of the West is awful and everything else, and they this bloke wanted to be a martyr. That was it. He wanted to be a martyr.
Fair enough then.
He'd spoken about it for years, about that's what he wanted to do. And the government is blaming lawyers, of course, for early releases and everything else, even though it's the government that create the laws.
But yeah, they had to let him out because that was the law.
Yes.
So he has to get out. There's no...
Like, if you saw someone like him in prison, gets released early, he's not de-radicalised.
No.
Because no one's gone, right, so these are your beliefs, or these were your beliefs. Let's discuss them. Why do you think this? Why do you think the West is awful? Why do you think that your belief is so enraged that you should be allowed to kill for your belief? What do you believe that a martyr is going to do? What do you think that people are going to see of you once you become a martyr? How are you going to be held up? Do you truly think that if you go and kill people and then you're shot, do you truly think that there are going to be enough people looking at you as a fucking hero to make it worth it?
Sounds like you just described a mentally ill person that's having some sort of psychotic episode rather than someone with a religious belief. But if you want to say that religious belief is also a psychotic episode, then that's there's a different topic. But
I mean, the argument of religion being a mental illness is, I think it certainly has some legs, but most of the time it's fucking harmless. Like, your talking lettuce is your thing. Go crazy.
How dare you disrespect my talking lettuce? Fuck off.
I'm all about the cabbage myself.
And there's a war starting about it.
Iceberg.
Every single religion kind of wants the same thing. They want to get up in the morning, eat their cornflakes, take the kids to school, and not have a bad life, and just go do what you want to do. Everyone's pretty much decent. So the fact that you want to run around in the street, and by the way, people said there was the police turned up in 2 minutes and shot him.
Yeah.
I don't know how fast you're actually going to get that unless you've got policemen going up and down the road on bikes just ready for it.
The police turned into like gangsters doing drive-bys.
That was quite impressive, by the way. I thought he stabbed someone. I mean, it doesn't... Maybe we shouldn't be shooting. But he had a pretend vest on, didn't he? So it could have been a bomb going off. That was the reason why he got it. So that's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it was just the knife, because... in this country, our police many things, but they're not like shoot first, ask questions later, unless it's like a bomb type of aspect.
Yeah, or you're wearing an orange coat on the underground and you jumped over the barrier.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you run fast. Oh, it's been a long time since I fought that Brazilian.
Yeah, can't remember his name.
What was his name? I've got Bruno in me head. I don't know why. Maybe Brazilian and Bruno. I don't know. Is Bruno a Brazilian name?
Can be. Depends on what kind of strip places you go into to enjoy it. Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome, Jesus Christ. Right. The government was defeated in court, having been found to have unlawfully discriminated against thousands of severely disabled benefit claimants. This is about universal credit.
Yeah. I haven't heard about this bit of news. You've gone deep on actual caring.
I mean, it's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting the other guests to. Obviously, hat's done fuck all this week.
Again.
Although, looking good. So you can't ask more than that, really. But yeah, I have actually gone through... Otherwise, it would just be... whatever the guests have brought, and I have found I love most of the guests who have been on.
I did actually bring stuff.
Yes. Oh no, we'll get onto it. Don't worry, we've got time.
I doesn't need it's
but
compared to these
most
topics
of the guests,
of joy.
When they bring in something for a show called Political Breakdown, tends to be, KFC have got a new deal, and I want to kill them. It's.
But delete what I've just brought.
I was going to do about their 9 piece of chicken for $5.99. I was going to talk about that. Or what's the new thing? The fucking Pizza Hut are doing a KFC pizza. They're going, the world's dying, mate. If that's where we're up to, fuck them.
I appreciate the crossover. People are getting together, man. Maybe all homogenised crap food could be at one place.
I mean, for a lot of it, you may as well just like squidge it all together and fucking just force feed it down your throat. It's madness. But we're talking about the government.
I like putting you off on a tangent.
So the Court of Appeal dismissed the government's appeal against 2 previous court judgments, which found that the state for work and pensions had unlawfully discriminated against thousands of disabled people who were moved onto universal credit. So moving them over to universal credit left them like £100 plus £158, I think it is, a month worse off.
It's a lot of money.
Yes, a lot, especially because with disabled people, it tends to cost more to live.
Yeah.
Because of all the other aspects on it. And so they just went along and said, right, £180. £180
See, it's gone up since you've just talked.
Yeah, I mean, that's
terrifying.
So, I'm not sure how much you're on top of universal credit.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Luckily, thankfully.
Oh, yeah, it's... it's one of the worst things that the government have done over the past couple of years. Because universal credit is the idea of bringing all credits, all benefits into one handy, fuckable credit.
Yeah.
Normally less. And so with disabled people, the government... How am I going to put this? Do the government care about disabled people, or is this just incompetence, or is this truly we don't care about disabled people?
I'm going to have to go with the don't caring.
You truly believe that, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I do think that because we spend so much time in the government going, this is just incompetence. I truly believe that there are people in this government and fucking most previous governments that are actually fucking evil.
Yes.
That are truly fucking evil.
Yes.
And people like Ian Duncan Smith, who was the Department of Work and Pensions when this first came out, and Ian Duncan Smith has not found a thing he can't fuck up worse. It is impressive. Absolute. I wish he was still fucking leader of the Tory party, because...
You could have fucked it all up, yeah.
Oh, they just never would have got in. Ever. Do you remember that in the when they were going up against Blair?
I even forgot he was leader.
Well, because he was one of the ones who went up against Blair. You had Howard, Smith, and Haig were leaders over that time. They're going, that's the reason that Blair could do whatever the fuck he wanted. That's why he won all the time. It's like fucking everyone going up against Corbyn. Like, oh, so that's why they can win, because you're so fucking incompetent.
Everywhere at the moment, there's no, the opposition to the insanity is just not up to par.
Yeah.
How did Boris Johnson get elected? Sorry.
Well, it's just one of the things, I'm not keeping an eye on the Labour leadership until we get to a point where there's like two.
Yeah.
Until there's going to be an actual vote, I don't give a shit about all the tedious. Well, this is, if I'm in, this is what I'm going to do. Like, there's 9 of yous. Fuck off. When there's only 2, then I'll start looking. I'm not going to waste my time looking into whatever fucking Timbuk twat is fucking talking about, because he's never going to get anywhere.
All of those candidates that I've seen are shockingly bad, by the way.
I mean,
I got no faith in it at all.
I think Keir Starmer is probably the best candidate, but people going after him, he wears a suit. He used to be a fucking human rights lawyer. Wind your fucking neck in.
Who's going to vote for that?
Well, this is it. You go, he's...
He would fight for the disabled.
This is the idea. No one will vote for a posh bloke. Are you sure? Because the previous 2, because 2 out of the 3 fucking PMs went to Eton, and then one of the knobhead fucking universities. Have you heard Boris Johnson talk? Oh, they won't vote for posh. They fucking suck him off, mate. They love a bit of posh.
Everyone does love a bit of posh.
And the difference is, like, Corbyn is really...
That wonderful woman that said he's a liar and she trusts him, she loves a bit of posh.
Oh, Christ. Humanity.
And as for the disabled people, they're always going to be fucked, the poor bastards. It's not even disabled. Anyone, if you're not bringing in about 80 grand's worth of tax, they don't give a fuck about you. Just put caring is tantamount to tax generation. What you bring in, you vote on your tax band, and they aren't bringing in any money, and they don't care.
Well, it is a cost of life, isn't it? This is what we're looking at. They're going, well, if you're disabled, then unless you're actually bringing in enough money to care for yourself and fucking pay tax, we don't give a fuck, because we're not going to give you any time.
Even the people that care for them, the carers. I mean, they've got no people whose parents are getting old now, and they have to do 24-hour care for them, and they can't work now. It's terrible. What kind of society doesn't want people to do well? I mean, that's called the NHS. It's nice. Would you buy a disabled person a pint? Yes, I would buy a disabled person a pint. Oh, that's kind of the same as giving them money to be supported and be independent and go out and get the job that they can.
And it's a whole fucking idea that disabled people are just there, disabled and fucking social care. The whole idea that they're there going, oh well, they just want to fucking take money. No, No, that's not the point at all. They want to fucking do exactly the same as everyone else, not be treated fucking differently.
Maybe there is a percentage of them that are scamming the system. Let's pay them.
I was
Because
out-
there's 99% of them who aren't.
I was out for a bevy the other day. I was speaking to a couple of people who are... they want... nice, right? I mean, they're lovely people. I get on well with them, but their views aren't necessarily mine. They voted Conservative, love Nigel Farage, think Brexit was a great idea. And they had a conversation with them, and one of them turned around to me and said, "Listen, I've got family who I got family, and so they say that they're disabled, and they all get a free car." What? Did I haven't done the research yet into whether or not claiming you're disabled gets you a free car. I don't think it does.
I'd like to think that the level of disability warranted some sort of transport they require to get around.
Well, this is the thing.
And I won't begrudge a person a car.
But if you've got... I mean, you made the valid point. Let's say you've got 4%. You've got 4% of people trying to scam it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the HMRC and look at what they're doing in trying to get tax paid and everything, you've got hundreds of people working for cash in hand and stopping that, and you've got hardly anyone fucking dealing in the like 70 people dealing with the actual big companies who aren't paying billions of pounds.
They can negotiate their own tax bill,
Yeah.
which is amazing. I wish I could negotiate my own tax bill.
Well, I mean, if you did that individually, although should you be able to? Because this is an idea that tends to come along on the left, which is fucking mental. The idea of being able to pick what your tax goes to. Are you for that idea?
That's a huge critique. Because everyone would just pick hospitals and everything nice.
Yep.
But at some point, you do need a warship.
I mean,
I'd love to live in a world where we don't need a warship, but unfortunately, we do.
make potholes.
Yeah, you got to have some money for. You got to fill them up or make them. Are you for or against? What do you mean?
More.
Oh, more of them. All right. For cyclists, you hate them.
I'm a big fan of fucking of arcade racing. Just potholes everywhere. Let's have driving fun.
But people do have a choice in what their tax goes to because they vote the people in their council.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you decide where you want your money to go to. The people campaign, and then you write to them and say, I want this to be fixed, or there's more. Usually people want health, schools, roads to be nice, and transport. That's pretty much your four basic things.
Yeah, but the money goes on so many other things.
Yeah, it has to.
Picking up fucking your bins,
Yeah.
all the way down to unbelievable Pete, who does our fucking IT and
bored.
everything. He's currently listening to something else whilst having us this beautiful... He's watching something else. I do apologise, you ignorant cunt.
I completely understand it. This is just like basically two old dudes in an old age home.
I'm 31, you cunt.
Well,
Fuck off.
you're old. Soon Robbie from Take That's going to be selling you a stair lift. That's how old you are.
That's going to be a fun song. What news story did you bring them?
You're not going to like it.
Oh, just tell me.
No, I'll put it on my phone because my memory's of no use.
It's just paper, mate.
Yeah, I know. I thought that, but I thought I'd use technology. But I didn't know how we were going to do it. I thought there was going to be a better... Coronavirus is now...
Yes.
5 Brits in a French ski chalet have caught the virus. How did it get there? It doesn't tell us. It just tells me... luckily, I was never going to go skiing because my knees hurt, but I'm a bit worried now that virus is getting everywhere. It's ruining... 35,000 cases globally, plus the 4 million in China they're not telling us about.
Yeah, China are hiding numbers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But they did build a hospital in 2.5 weeks.
What I found interesting, I've got some stuff on like the coronavirus. Has the coronavirus actually been used as an excuse to push more racism?
What, towards Chinese people?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, fucking anyone Asian or East Asian.
Yeah, my wife's Japanese, so I'm wondering if she's gonna. I don't like to go near her now. She might have it. I don't know.
I mean, this is kind of what I was talking about.
Is this the racism we wanted?
Because I saw on Twitter like comedians I got respect for, and they were chucking away, going, "Oh yeah, eating bat soup." They're going, "Mate, well, this is what you're doing here. Is you're using a myth that is perpetrated on fucking racism." To go, oh, well, they just eat anything. Well, I mean, people will eat what they can eat because of the severe amount of fucking poverty in China in the first place, and their tastes aren't necessarily your fucking tastes.
Wonder if bat's tasty.
Oh, because it came from like the bat stuff came from a video from a woman eating bat, and everyone went, oh, this is a thing, and it wasn't in fucking it wasn't in China. It was somewhere else. You're just going, oh well, it's. I mean, look at them. They've all got the same eyes. They're obviously the same fucking place.
I'm not even too sure that that's how you get the coronavirus.
No,
indigestion maybe, but
no, it's from an endangered species. That's what they found. Because there was a previous coronavirus that did come from bats.
All right.
But that was a strand of coronavirus from. Late 2019, the one that's currently in the papers everywhere at the moment is a different strand, and scientists are suggesting that it comes from, the scaly fucking thing.
Lizard snakes.
No, it's endangered. Katie Hopkins could well be. Although she doesn't give you coronavirus, she just gives you a sense of fucking dread.
Heartburn.
I assume you walk near fucking Katie Hopkins and you can literally smell the desperation.
She's the same age as me. That's the worrying thing. That's how much evil she's got. She looks dreadful. And I mean that as a personal attack. And she's never going to hear this, but I hope someone tweets her and says, I think she's horrible. I don't know how what started the coronavirus, but apparently now there's going to be even more people that's going to get it. It's in the French. I can't go skiing now, Ashley. I can't go skiing.
Yeah.
What else can't I do?
I get that, but what's the kill percentage? Something like 3%?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not massively high.
It's just nice to be talking about something else for a bit.
Well, but I mean, it's the same as fucking SARS. It's the same as fucking foot and mouth, Ebola, everything. There's always something that's happening where the world is trying to get rid of humanity. As well, the world fucking should.
Yeah. It's trying to correct a mistake.
There's too many of us. Find new and inventive ways of getting through. As I've said before, my way of killing everyone, gonorrhea. Gonorrhea stops you from reproducing. Everyone just ends up rutting and rotting. That is the way that humanity should go.
I think we should just party instead. Oh, that's probably how you get the gonorrhea.
Just party. Yeah. That's how it is. Just full on fucking just a worldwide orgy where we all just fucking got skin dripping off of us by the end of it as we finally pump fucking dust as we die.
All right, I'm doing it. Is this what's happening after this? So that's the ladies in this room is about as what we're used to.
I was personally thinking maybe some mini golf after this. Actually,
all right,
that was my idea.
That was a letdown. I was playing mini golf before I came here.
Were you?
Yeah.
Where were you playing that?
I'd lie to you.
Oh, don't lie to me.
I did see a mini golf place that's opened up in the Witherspoons. It used to be in Bank.
That's not the same fucking.
I was looking at it. I was wondering how much it is.
I think. Oh no! I mean,
I don't know. How are we going to solve it?
Well, no, I mean, my main thing with coronavirus is: are we allowing it as a way of being racist? Because you've got everyone who are talking about myths and chucking away all these falsehoods about easy ways to cure it and everything, and they're going, well, I've seen people blame the Chinese culture for it. They're going, oh, it's because of all the mad shit they eat. Like, well, no, it's not. How can we? And I'm not defending the Chinese. The Chinese government are fucking scum, murderous, shit-stained, fascist fuck knuckles.
Glad you come off the fence on that one.
But the Chinese people are people. It's the same with the fucking US government, Israeli government, UK government. The governments are cunts.
Yeah, usually.
But the people are people.
Yeah.
You know, you can't fucking blame someone who lives in some part of fucking China for the Chinese government chucking in 3 million plus Muslims into an internment camp. Sorry, re-education camp. It's a fucking internment camp.
They're trying to deal with counter-terrorism. That's what they've done. They've taken a leaf out of our book. Well, how can we be awful to people? It really helps them get on our side.
Madness.
I'm just upset. I'm going to Italy soon. Do I have to worry about travel? Basically, if you're on a plane, don't come here. Turn around, go land, and everyone wait until it all dies out.
This has been a party political message from UKIP.
Just wait around
Basically,
a bit.
if you're on a plane, fucking turn around, mate.
Anywhere
you know, don't want you here.
I don't want you here. Just go land.
Go skiing in France, you prick.
No, don't even go there. No one's allowed to move at all now. You have to have if you're hauling goods anywhere, you have to be in a full hazmat suit. That's how. Just if you're on a Ryanair flight, you're fucked anyway.
It would save from having to decide what to wear every day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm in my hazmat suit.
Just hazmat suit every day.
Yeah. You can have a different colour hazmat suit.
Oh, remind you of when you were at school with school uniforms, so you never had to fucking actually pick what to wear.
We had to wear hazmat suits. The asbestos wasn't found in all the buildings back then. It was a bad time.
I went to school in Chernobyl. It was very good.
That's what we did. The smelly kid was not. We didn't know who that was. They were just interned in their own bubble of filth. We had no smelly kids.
There's always one. There's always one, and I feel sorry for that kid afterwards. At the time, it made me
just use a condom. That's all we're saying. You won't get coronavirus then.
Interestingly, on condoms and contraception, there is a shortage of contraception in the UK. Doctors are warning.
I'm not too sure if they're blaming that on Brexit or they did a...
No, it doesn't seem like they're blaming it on Brexit. Although people
it was hormone replacement therapy. They prescribed it. And so now old people who want to still remain young, don't give it to them. Your fucking's over. Give it to the young people who might get knocked up. We don't want to get knocked up.
Well, with the contraception side, the chances is because this is like the pill and longer term injections, and of course it's only affecting women because most stuff does.
Well, fuck then, aren't we?
The
government's not going to care about that. They've still got.
Yeah, they'll probably do a charity about it.
Why has the VAT come off of tampons now and all sanitary products?
Because that is
was blanket European, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was actual Europe. That was an EU thing. Although the government used it as the EU, not us. I reckon if the EU. When we move out the EU, they're not going to make it fucking tax-free.
We don't make them here, so when they import them, the tariffs are going to get placed on all sanitary products, and now women are going to be paying even more. I don't think no one's going to have a good time.
No, but we're not here for a good time, are we? Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
No, actually, we're not here for a good time.
But with the whole contraception and everything. What would you look at as the perfect way? Is it just would you say condoms or woman on the pill?
Well, it's a choice up to the individual there, isn't it? Yeah. What do you want? Do you have access to it, and do you have to pay for that access? I mean, condoms aren't given. Oh, they are given out freely if you go to the clinics and ask. So that's good. People have access to that. The contraception can be used for a number of medical reasons, not just for sex.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a really good thing of how when people want their diabetic medication, there's going to be a shortage of that. But just pay more for it. Just pay another $1 trillion to the NHS whenever we need it. I don't know why there's even a budget limit for it. Just keep on paying.
Because we're coming very close to $2 trillion in debt.
Yep, I've got that on my thing. I've got the counter up. I don't know why anyone's ever talking about anything else when the current rate is. Where's my ticker here? Pooh, there we are. Diggy.
Oh, we're over 2 trillion.
Yeah, we are. It's it's a lot of money. .com.
As a percentage of GDP, because there's two separate ways of looking at it.
I don't even like looking at it.
It's something with because one of it is we're at 86%, which isn't comparatively to a lot of other countries, isn't terrible, our debt. But then there's another way of looking at it where the 2 trillion is fucking like 366%, which is a lot worse.
Yeah, you're not getting... And we were all talking about just getting a 110% mortgage. We're way over those sort of numbers at this point.
I mean, like, is it real?
No. Who do you owe it to? Where is this money coming from?
Well, this is it. With all of these debts and everything, they're going, well, will it ever be paid back? Are you going to have bailiffs coming and knocking on the fucking door? Maybe that's what the UK should become. After thing, like, all the talk about what the UK is going to be. One thing we're very good at is diplomacy. So maybe the UK should become the world's like bailiff.
Well, it was for a while. I mean,
yeah, but that's mainly because they owed us money.
Yeah. Well, we went and took India. I don't know. That used to belong to someone, I'd assume.
I think the Indians.
Oh, yeah.
I think
they were undecided. I mean, all the stuff we've got in the British Museum, that's ours.
Yeah.
I think we should just go around pillaging. It will all work out fine.
Oh, just go on, knock on fucking Italy. Go. Do you actually owe Germany $1 trillion? Have you got that now? We can take the Leaning Tower of Pisa as a collateral.
We've done it before.
Yeah, just go along.
If we had a big enough boat, we'd have took those pyramids. It would have been in Trafalgar Square.
knock on the USA. Honestly, mate, you owe China a lot of fucking money.
We owe the Chinese.
Yeah.
Everyone owes them. They're on a debt mountain of about 5 trillion right now.
Like that.
Madness,
absolute madness.
I think the Chinese should just ask for their money back. See what happens.
I mean, they're going to get a lot of fucking blocked calls, isn't they? That's it. Gonna meet up in a pub.
America will stop building a wall and start building curtains to draw shut. Hiding behind a big sofa. We have a lot.
Strange, the US haven't been in for years now.
Are you there?
All Trump's tweets are going to be, shh. They can see us.
Looking over the wall. I can see you. Are you there? No one knows anyone anything.
Oh yeah, I mean that could well be the thing that it'll just turn out that money is absolutely worthless when you get into that area, that amount.
I don't.
But considering, if you think about it, that money, if we suggest that money is pointless,
Well,
when we get to like trillions, it's not worth anything, really. Why aren't we using that then to improve things?
I don't want to.
I'm not saying you.
I don't want to.
I mean, I love you to bits, boys, but if you were the person who was in charge of making this world better, you were the blockage.
How rude. We've not tried it. That idiot on the breakfast TV saying Brexit. We've not tried it.
If you were the blockage, I'll fucking kill you, mate.
I think we're going to do all right. People need to have optimism. That's what we need.
Hope, mate.
Hope
it's all about
optimism.
Hope.
And it'll get you through.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what will get you through, but it'll get you through something.
Hope and optimism.
What are we looking at? Political journalists. This has been an interesting thing of the week.
You could be one of them.
Yeah, but I can't fucking write for shit. But political journalists have boycotted, and with political journalists, you have to be very careful on your own opinion. And I ain't.
Fair enough, though. If there's one thing you have.
Yeah, I mean, Christ.
It's an opinion.
I mean, I'll be very quick for the question to Boris Johnson would be, why are you such a cunt, though? Honestly, why are you such... Like, is it on purpose? Are you doing it for effect? Or every time just go... How many of your children do you think actually love you?
Thank you, Ashley Haden, BBC.
That'd be fantastic. Ashley Haden, BBC. How many of your children do you think actually love you? What a great question.
How many of them have you admitted to?
Do you put all of your abortions on expenses? Well, they wouldn't have to, would they? Because it's free in this country, isn't it, abortions?
I'm all right with that.
Oh, as am I. I mean, I assume if it was charged, he would have a fucking loyalty card by now. Although, of course, I can't confirm that he's had a lot of abortions.
He has. No, personally, I know he hasn't.
No.
He
Looks like he survived one, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Political journalists, they've boycotted Downing Street briefing this week after one of Boris Johnson's aides banned selected reporters from attending. So this was Lee Kane, who is Boris Johnson's most senior communications advisor. He tried to exclude The Mirror, The Eye, The Huffington Post, Politics Home, The Independent, and some others from an official briefing. What ended up happening was everyone from the BBC, ITV, Sky News, Daily Mail, Telegraph, The Sun, the FT, and The Guardian, they all fucked off as well.
And I'm really proud. I tweeted my MP as soon as I saw that news coming out. Going, I think I might write to him now explaining that. The whole point of this country is a free press holding Parliament to account. They've not been doing a very good job of that, admittedly. But when you start banning people in some sort of Trump administration tactics, I don't want to see that. I don't think this country's about that.
Do you think this was a Dominic Cummings trick? Do you think that this came from him, or do you think this came from Boris Johnson?
Do you know what? I don't think they'd even have talked to her about it. Trying to exclude the press right. I mean, Boris Johnson was probably too busy hiding in a fridge. So I don't think it would have come forward. I think it's remarkably surprising that someone would even have the gall to start banning press. I mean, if you've got some stupid press, I don't know, Sheep Herding Weekly or something like that, what are you doing in the actual thing? I mean, you need to be decent enough in a decent enough organisation to get into the press office. You don't want YouTubers turning up.
Well, I mean, it becomes very difficult at that point as well, because you've got people like fucking that fucking Guido Fawkes thing. You're going, well, I've seen this Tom Harwood thing. I've seen the type of shit that you've been talking about. Why are you anywhere? Or like, say if Katie Hopkins wanted to get herself a fucking press pass for it, you'd be like, well, no, you're not a fucking journalist. Fuck off. But even with the fucking Daily Mail, like, you must be allowed in.
Yeah.
I fucking despise the Daily Mail, but they showed that they have a modicum of ethics about them, where they would walk out and go, well, no, if you're not going to allow all of us, then you don't get any of us.
They need the press, and the press is needed to have an actual country that runs well. I mean, the fact that all of the politicians do something bad, then they're held to account for it. The only way they are held to account is because the press investigate and put it out there.
But yes, I agree, and I think the press is massively important.
That's why I don't like billionaires having newspapers, because you can't have an agenda.
There's a very good ProPublica. Is very good. I think it's a millionaire or something owns it, but he's written a contract where he has to give a certain amount of money a year to keep it running, but he doesn't get a say.
Then that's brilliant for that person.
Yeah, but
He's
then
making
you've
the world
got
a better place with
but
his
then
money.
if you've got someone like fucking Murdoch, who is like ooze in a fucking open wound.
Yeah.
That is where
he's been our prime minister now for, was it 33
years? Oh
years?
yeah, Christ.
It's,
I mean, it was always the argument of that's one of the reasons why I didn't like the EU, because none of his papers are particularly big in the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
Australia, UK, US, all of his fucking media empire is massive, but Europe never really got anywhere. But with our press, although that we're at a point where our government seemingly is ignoring anything that comes close to press freedoms, have the press done themselves any justice over the past 10 10 years? You say?
10 years is probably a good time. The problem at the moment is they've got funding. So if to be an investigative journalist, you have to actually have quite a lot of money and backing behind you, because it takes a long time to get everything right, and you got to be able to afford it and have a family and life and stuff. So you need a certain amount of income for that. And if you need about, I don't know, say 200 journalists, you've got to have a lot of money out there. And if the only way you can actually get your money now is to have clickbait titles, will she, won't she, then the standard of the reporting has to drop, because you have to maintain your company, and the only way that seems to be working online is to have awful articles about what celebrity A was wearing and what they said from B to another celebrity. I mean, no examples of it, but clickbait culture is hurting press a lot. But I don't actually want to go out and buy a newspaper to support anything, because I don't actually know of a newspaper I like at the moment.
FT is always good for.
But that was bought by a Japanese company, and they were taking off comments off the Japanese website.
Yeah.
And so how can I trust that? It's weird. I mean, NHK, the Japanese news channel, is quite good, but they're not really a... actually, I like the way the Japanese report stuff about England, because they don't actually have a dog in the fight, and they don't care about their news stories. So you'll just get the blatant news, and then they'll move on to a next subject.
Yeah, always useful. I mean, it's one of the fun things about like a Freeview or something like that box, where you just go to the news and you're going, oh, I've got the news from all of these different countries, and you just flick through going, madness, 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 madness. It's so weird.
I think of course, Jeff from Amazon there, he can buy as many newspapers that he wants, but there has to be, and he can have people write what they want, but it has to be true. There has to be accountability on all of the stories and where they've got their sources from. There has to be a drive. People like being journalists. They want to find the truth, but if they're then getting told they can't write or say things for some editorial reason, because that's what the owners don't like, then how do people actually base their judgment on? Most of this Brexit could be blamed on people not having the facts, and for many times either side, for and against, people didn't have the facts. They're trying to work and raise kids and do stuff. No one's going to be a lawyer on all of these subjects. There used to be simple, well-written articles and that you trust. But
then the argument is, this is one of the major problems in journalism, is not buying newspapers, or like one thing that I do is I give money to The Guardian every month, because I'm not going to buy the fucking things all the time, but I do give money to them every month. They don't do a paywall, so that's useful. And I mean, some of the stories that The Guardian and The Observer have done in the past have been incredibly important. Some of the most important stories are from local journalists, and that is where we see a fundamental destruction of journalism, is when you're getting a cut in local journalists, because local journalists are the ones who will actually hold councils and stuff to account, where you'll start to see the fragments of corruption and stuff like that. It's the local journalists that do the fucking work.
Never actually thought about it like that before. It's always stuff at local grassroots level, isn't it?
Yeah. It's always going to be the grassroots that are going to get the major stories, the little crumbs of a major story to start off with, always. Right, well, we're coming to the end of this. So do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, you can see me now. I'll be at the bus stop crying my eyes out. Thank you very much.
And the final, the final news stories of the that we didn't get through to. CEOs of 6 big gig economy employees, including Uber and Deliveroo, have created a charter of principles for good platform work, which is going to be fucking dreadful. You also got MP for some fucking, what's his name? Daniel Kawasinski. He's been sharing platforms with the far right, with Orban and with ex-deputy Italian PM Matteo Salvini, because he also is fucking far right. I hate to break it to everyone, but he's a prick. Ban on selling new petrol, diesel and hybrid cars are looking to come into effect in 2035, being brought forward from 2040, although people suggest that, well, people in it suggest we don't have everything in place to actually get that done. Human Rights Watch have done a new investigation revealing at least 200 Salvadorian migrants and asylum seekers have been killed, raped or tortured after being deported back to El Salvador by the US government, even though that's against international law. Two leading sexual health charities have said something.
Have they?
And I can't be bothered with that one. And I think that's it. Oh, the police have said they're uncovering a hidden epidemic of paedophile abuse in the 70s and 80s, with thousands of allegations leading to convictions against people in power who abuse their power to attack children. But you know, it was better back in the day. I want to thank my guest, Boyce Bailey, and bye.